Today we're going to find out what would happen if our defenses were restricted to this tiny pontoon in the middle of an oasis. Now if you didn't know this, the pontoon is actually one of many special agents here in Bloons TD5, and as you can see, it doesn't exactly offer us a ton of space to build our entire defense on. But we simply do not have a choice today, and because we're totally restricted to the pontoon, I actually cannot start with a 1-0 engineer like I normally would in these challenges, as it builds its sentry turrets on the main land, which isn't really fair. So instead, I'm actually going to start by placing a Dartling gunner on the bottom right corner of the pontoon. And I'm putting it as close to the edge as possible so we don't end up actually wasting any space on this thing. Now of course, the Dartling gunner is already an amazing tower during the early to mid game of BTD5, as it deals a very high damage per second for a low price. And with this challenge specifically, it really helps that the Dartling gunner is one of 2 towers in the game to offer you global range, which allows it to hit Bloons all the way at the entrance of the map without being anywhere near them. And I know you might be thinking that's a bit overpowered, but hey, I just said the monkeys were stranded. I never said they were stupid. And that's why they made sure that the Dartling gunner's specialist building was active as well, considering it allows the tower to be a bit cheaper, along with also increasing its attack speed and its pierce. And then, to make our Dartling even better, the first thing I did was upgrade it to a 2-2 tower, and keep in mind that BTD5 only has 2 upgrade paths, unlike in BTD6. But in any case, getting the Dartling upgraded improved its accuracy, attack speed even more, along with its pierce, while also granting the ability for it to now pop lead balloons. And this makes the 2-2 Dartling gunner incredibly versatile for its price, given that it can also pop camo balloons and take care of everything during the early game for us with no trouble whatsoever. And I just want to say, if you end up enjoying this video, dropping a like and sub really goes a long way to help it reach more people. Now the next thing I did was get down a sniper monkey, which thankfully is the only other tower in the game that has global range, unless you include the sub, which you cannot build on a pontoon. And my plan moving forward is to keep on saving up until I can actually afford to upgrade the sniper to a 0-4 tower, as this will give it the ability to generate a crate of extra cash. This is really important, because we're simply just so limited on our space with this pontoon, to the point where not even a single banana farm can actually fit on it by itself. Now on round 40, I had to be a bit careful with the first ceramic balloons coming out here, so I turned off fast forward mode and made sure to catch everything with our Dartling. And right after that, I was able to afford the supply drop upgrade on our sniper, and rather than waiting for the ability cooldown to end, I simply sold the sniper and rebought it, because my Monkey Knowledge Laboratory allows me to get back 99% of a tower's original cost whenever I go to sell it, as opposed to the standard 80% that you start with in the game, which means that the cash you collect from each supply drop crate is more than enough to be profitable for you overall. And so, I kept on repeating this process for a while, eventually upgrading the 2 Dartling gunners I now had up to 2-3 towers, so that I could ensure I wouldn't have to worry about my defense for a little while. Then, I actually tried switching from the Dartling gunner specialist building over to the helicopters, as this comes with a perk that makes the helicopter take up 20% less space than normal, which I thought would be enough to fit it on the pontoon. I mean, visually this should be working, but alas, it did not, and thus, I went back to using the Dartling gunners building and continued forward the same way I'd been playing before. The main reason I wanted to use the helicopter is because it has the same ability as the sniper monkey, except you get more cash from the crate, which would have made this process faster. Beyond that, we could have also used the helicopter to generate some extra lives later on, because unlike the sniper monkey, it actually switches between giving you cash on the first use and then lives on the second. But regardless, I actually got a Sun God down on the pontoon at round 58, because I knew the difficulty was going to be ramping up soon with the first BFB on round 60, and beyond that, the packed ceramics on round 63. Which thankfully, our Sun God easily tore through. And the idea here was to continue using the sniper's cash supply ability until I was certain I had more than enough cash to create the strongest temple that I possibly can. And I never really thought about this until now, but in a way, the temple sort of gives you more space than you would normally have, because when you think about it, it's sacrificing all the towers around it and absorbing their power to make itself stronger, but then you can now build more towers in that space around it again. And of course, when you're limited to just a single pontoon, every bit of extra space really goes a long way. And it was on round 77 that I actually set up what I figured was the strongest temple that I possibly could, given our limited space, by using a 0-4 Tech Terror to max out the strength of the temple's plasma, and then adding a bomb tower and a wizard for the missile and tornado projectiles. And you just saw me trying to fit a glue gunner there as well. I really could not find any places for it. I'm not saying that this is perfectly optimal, but I do believe it's about as strong as the temple can get, given again that we can only sacrifice other towers on the pontoon. And once I did that, I actually got down 2 sun gods along with a ninja monkey for its sabotage ability. And if you didn't know, the sabotage supply line upgrade actually allows the ninja to slow down all newly spawned balloons by 50% for 15 seconds. However, after a bit of consideration and an inability to fit any other towers, I actually sold one of the sun gods in order to get down 2 absolute zero ice monkeys, as they can slow down every balloon that's on screen by another 50%, and this works together with the ninja's ability to truly make the blimps come to a crawl. However, I wasn't even needing either one of these abilities while we were facing the early free play rounds, as the blimps hadn't gained very much extra speed or health yet, which allowed the temple and sun god to tear through everything together. But once we had beat round 100, I figured it was a good time to switch over to the super monkey specialist building, which gives a range boost that allows the temple to literally see the entire map, along with giving us the Vengeful Temple ability as well, which you can see here is quite powerful when activated. Now, once we got to round 106, things started getting pretty intense. So I used the slowdown abilities together for the first time, and on round 109, I actually switched the temple's targeting over from the first balloon to the strongest, which greatly reduced the amount of time it spent chasing balloons and allowed the temple to focus on clearing out the big groups of blimps that were getting stacked up by the slowdown abilities. And then the sun god could focus on cleaning up the weaker balloons at the end. Now, when it comes to using your abilities, the best thing you can do is save them for the ZOMGs where they actually matter, and really try to use the Vengeful Temple ability to clear everything out at once. And things kept on moving forward, but I could tell the rounds were starting to get pretty tough for our stranded defense, with round 123 actually taking out some of our lives, before we lost the majority of them on round 124, and then ultimately the defense failed one round after that. So as it turns out, you can still get pretty far on easy mode, even when you're limited to the space provided by a single pontoon. But now it's time to flip the script. First, let me enable Mastery mode, which will make every single balloon 1 rank higher than normal, from the red balloons on round 1 turning into blues, to the round 63 ceramics becoming packed Moabs, all the way up to round 84 having 50 BFBs and 10 ZOMGs. It also greatly reduces your income generation from the balloons as well, but we're not done yet, as I'm also going to be playing on Impoppable difficulty now to truly make things as difficult as possible. And if you saw the video where I beat Impoppable mode with 0 towers, you'll probably remember that even with the Dartling Gunner Specialist building enabled, you still cannot afford to start with it on the first round. So instead, what I have to do is first place down something decent like a Ninja Monkey, let that take care of round 1, and then we can sell it and now afford the Dartling Gunner for rounds 2 and onward. And using it, I was able to survive the early rounds once again, which really just goes to show how amazing the Dartling Gunner actually is. But after playing on easy mode for several of my recent videos, I kinda got jump scared by just how fast the first yellow balloons actually were on round 9. Because keep in mind, the higher of a difficulty that you play on, the faster that the balloons move. But I can't say that my strategy was really any different starting off on Mastery Impoppable than it had been on regular easy mode. Ultimately, I still focused on upgrading my Dartling Gunner up to a 2-2 tower. And this time, it was really good that I got the lead popping upgrade earlier, because you now have to face them for the first time on round 22 instead of round 28. And I just have to say here, when I called the 2-2 Dartling Gunner versatile for its price earlier, I wasn't even anticipating just how well it would still be performing for us while playing on the highest difficulty in BTD5. I mean, round after round, it kept surviving all by itself. But all good things must come to an end, and with the first ceramic balloons on round 35, I actually ended up losing. So I used the money I'd saved up to get a second Dartling Gunner that was a 2-1, since I really don't need lead popping on both of them, and this was enough to get us through. However, I ended up losing once again to the ceramics on round 39 this time, so I got down a third Dartling Gunner, and this did allow us to continue onwards, but only for a single round, as we now lost while trying to deal with round 40, where you face more ceramics yet, along with the first Moabs as well. So I tried the round again, and I played a little better with my control of the Dartling Gunner in order to actually get past it before losing once more, this time to round 43, So I used a little money I had to get up a 4th Dartling gunner, which will also be my last given that we're out of space on the pontoon. And on this second attempt, I did play a lot better by clearing out the ceramics in the beginning of the round more quickly, but I still ended up losing. And then on my 3rd attempt, I definitely got closer to beating it by taking out the Moabs 1 or 2 at a time, but there was still one left that got too close to the exit, and ultimately, I wasn't able to get past this round after 5 attempts. I definitely know it's possible, but this is where I really want to challenge the community as a whole to try and see just how far you can get with this challenge yourself. And in 1 week, I'll make a community post to shout out whoever is able to do so. Just make sure you let me know about your video in the comments here, or you join my Discord server and share it with me there.